Okay. I haven't made a video in a while. And it's because holy crap, man. The stuff I'm trying to manage now, with the farm and winter and there's all kinds of stuff I gotta do. So anyways, I had a friend. I was talking to some of my theories, and how are we gonna move forward. And she said, and I told her one of my ideas, and she said, you should make a video about that. So then I thought, okay, maybe it's time. So what I want to talk about, you could say this is kind of a political one, but not about the current structure of, okay? But I've been thinking a lot about what kinds of systems have human beings used to self-organize and survive, okay? And one of them is tribal based, okay? Now, there's been a lot of research done on this, on the size or number of these groups. So a tribe, down to 150 people, up to 400 or 500 people, can still stay close enough. And what's important here, what allows this group to function is that human relationships are an integral part, okay? How we treat each other, overcoming our differences, okay? I believe is going to be one of the greatest challenges, because the system that has developed has supported more and more and more individuated life, separate, like other than your family, if you have one or not, okay? And so more and more and more, these qualities that we all have that are kind of antisocial, not that maybe like me, I get really passionate and I lose my temper easy and give my family shit and, but these qualities, like all of us have these little, some we don't talk, we become introverted, others become anxious, like all over the map. And these are all coping skills that we had developed because of the social order we were living in, okay, which was rather dehumanizing. So now we have to really dig deep on these matters. I don't think there's ever been a time like now to start learning about the human condition, okay? Whoops. And I'm going to share with you a book I'm reading that I'm loving. Now this is probably backwards. So it says it's by Beth Martin, Martens, Journey. And this woman had stage 4 lymphoma cancer. And she went through chemo and everything for 3 years. Like, she was kind of rid off, gonna die. And she started to really dig deep to understand the body, emotion, and mind thoughts, okay, all those things, and the way they interact and suppress and inhibit health in the body. Interesting, isn't it? Well, wow. Turns out there's this whole field of human observation that has been broken into archetypes, which I didn't understand. Okay, like this is really new to me, but immediately I could recognize some of those attributes. And what they're explaining, you see, because we are a mammalian organism, okay, and we know scientifically a bigger part of our brain is our subconscious. It runs the entire body, okay? Well, it is also where all the instincts are, lets the adrenaline out and, like the fear response and trigger response to protect our body from being injured or dying. Turns out this mechanism for survival is way deeper in us than we were ever taught. Holy shit. I'm still just, I wish I could just take a week and just study this, because I am so thrilled what I'm learning. And it is helping me so much understand myself and other people from a very fresh, new perspective that's powerful. Very empowering. Okay? Because fear, anger, these types of really powerful motivating emotions, they have been able to track. There's a way of tracking this, and it can be found to be linked back to some event that caused you to, think maybe you wouldn't survive. Like say a kid is home, fell asleep, mom and dad snuck out, and mom and dad got delayed, and they got a flat tire, and they thought they would be able to get home before their little kid woke up. Total mistake, accident, oversight. The kid wakes up, the kid freaks out, kid's alone, kid has a complete traumatic fear experience that perhaps they've been abandoned. Like, at that moment, that little child has no way of knowing what has really happened. So that gets imprinted onto the subconscious. So then a fear of abandonment is actually linked deeper to the fear of dying and not surviving. This changes everything, because then it can explain to ourself about our own leanings. Say we notice in ourselves, we really think too much about what other people think, like a lot. Like, I've had friends that were incapacitated almost some days because they were imagining scenarios where some of their friends wouldn't understand them and would think bad of them. Like, it was a distorted fear that I couldn't understand. But now I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, maybe that is connected to the fear of abandonment. Because if no one, say you imagine no one likes you, then you'll lose your friends, you'll be abandoned, you won't survive. You see? So now what can happen is, instead of having relationships rooted in genuine love, genuine valuing of each other, coming from a place of peace, okay? And instead, what can happen to us is we begin to do things not because they're motivated from love, but instead trying to run away from fear. It's a behavior that mimics love, but isn't rooted in love. It's actually being driven from an unverified fear, an assumed fear. You see, it's good to have fear. It's good to be able to be afraid. It's good to have survival instincts. I'm not talking about that. But what I'm talking about is we haven't understood this about ourselves. And we have been influenced. And I will go so far as to say this is one of the primary ways we're being manipulated. Because people that have studied this know this is not secret to everyone. Okay? So that was the first thing. And why I feel this is really important in the work that I've done in learning about regenerative agriculture, which is a restorative modality of, it's not just farming to extract food, which is what is going on. They don't even think about the soil. It's like, it doesn't matter if it erodes or be polluted. But that's all changing now. So with holistic management, Alan Savory explained that he discovered that if people that are involved in food systems, they gotta have their physical needs met, whether that's through money or goods or whatever, or they won't make it. And then the environment, you can't keep going if you just destroy your soil and it becomes dead. Okay. But the third one that's overlooked is he discovered that the health and well-being of all the people involved in that system also must be taken care of, or it fails. Now that really touched me, because I'm looking at all these global problems, and basically what he's saying is unless we heal, the human condition, really heal, it's the only way to heal everything. Because we are a living component, okay? And a truly healthy ecosystem has to have all the species that are living in it functioning at a really good, healthy capacity. And we are definitely a dominant species, but we have not been functioning healthy. We've got so many unhealthy things now. So our physical environment, our actual water, air, food, extremely adulterated, shockingly. Like, I want to stress everyone, drink filtered water immediately. Just get any kind of filtration system immediately, like even your tap water, just filter it all, okay? And then how we eat. Now these changes are not easy to make, okay? So what I want to suggest is everyone's heard about AA and stuff, is in these recovery groups, okay, a lot of our behavior that we do to our bodies, like when we don't eat right or drink right, like water, like drinking juice and sugar or alcohol, or using prescription drugs in a way that is wrong, which I know people do. I've seen it with my own eyes. Even, yes, I'm not going to say who, but people that know better, educated in the medical field, drinking alcohol on purpose with their medication because they know the combinations are increased, okay? So now, why are we doing this? It's because short term, our mammalian body is just trying to get those hormones and stuff down that have been triggered for whatever reason, psychological reasons. I'm not saying these are not, they don't necessarily have to make sense why we're doing it. But we need to find a way to heal from all of these things at the same time. Obesity, okay? It's good. Everyone who's maybe overweight, I've been really heavy in my life, okay? Like, I almost at my heaviest, after I had my kids and stuff, like I was over 180, like I got really heavy for my size, and I've done a lot of work in the field, lot to try to understand and detox. And so basically what I've discovered is intermittent fasting for me works fabulous. And the using of sulfur, nutritional sulfur, and I really am very diligent now in taking the highest quality supplements I can afford. And I weighed myself the other day and I was down to 119 pounds. And I think when I was holding at 150, 155. Okay, I done this without a lot of effort. Okay, like when I eat now, if this intermittent fasting is a whole thing. I eat really well, you know. So anyways, so there's a lot of stuff we can do. So I'm just saying we need to support each other in all these areas. Okay? And we need to start dedicating ourselves to studying to find out what are going to be the obstacles we come up against. And so like here's another example. We might want to, because we've been so conditioned and assimilated into this singular governmental structure that is utterly predatory now, like it's so obvious. Okay, so how do we self-organize? So different people that are part of, trying to bring awareness that there's something else going on here. Some other people with other agendas seem to be trying to hijack this. Okay? Some of the agendas seem really effing dark too, like transhumanism, which I'm going to get into. Okay? Okay. I don't want to get I'm getting a little bit scattered when I'm trying to bring all of these pieces together. And so we definitely need to keep meeting, okay? And maybe what we could start doing, it's about how we organize. So a friend who's down south, where there's a lot bigger groups, they tried to get together. And then what started to happen is like, we gotta organize, we gotta make a group, and and then someone's got to be in charge, right? And then there started to be conflict. Okay, well, why? Because, and then they think that's wrong, and I say no, the conflict's not wrong. The conflict, we got to be more trusting now. If that size of group doesn't work, okay, and there's conflict, then don't try to make one. I say, this is what I'm doing. This is what gives me confidence. Human beings survived before technology because they organized around relationships, friendships, traditional tribal origins, okay? The family, extended family. How do we continue to operate, share information, okay? There is a natural system that exists. But what's happened, and at this point in time, I don't doubt anything that these individuals, I'm going to tell you what I actually think is going on, have, I think, known about this, when they say there's an attack on the family unit. But the reason, you see, why an attack on the family unit? Because it's a natural, self-organizing, innately instinctual social order that we can work within to take care of ourselves, apart from these other systems that are based on jobs, money, and have been utterly infiltrated by individuals that have become parasitic in their motivation. Because, why? They think that's the only way they can survive. So everything keeps coming back to survival. Even the most selfish people. If we could find out what the narrative is going around in their head, they probably tell themselves, when they look at the world, they think everyone is like them, which it isn't. They make that assumption, and then they think, well, I got to take care of me, because if I don't, then everyone else is, and they'll steal it all, so I'm going to steal it first, and I'm going to survive. And maybe, for a time, because we were living in such a corrupt system, that became more and more the only way to seemingly get your fair share. So then more and more people keep doing it. And I am going to stop this video and make one now just on that. But again, all of these challenges and problems, okay? The next big one is going to be finding the way to forgive each other, okay? To get along with each other and redevelop our healthy social skills. Okay? Not going to be easy. And so the number one thing I want to say, what I try to do, and I'm not always good at this, especially with my own family. Oh man, you're never able. We're always the hardest on our own family. But anyways, is to give people their space to be who they are. Okay? Like, if someone's quiet, let them be quiet. If someone's really upset, really frantic, really afraid, let them be. Like let's just learn where we are at and not try to moderate it too much, because you know what? Maybe those people that are really afraid, that's actually good, and we are not awakened enough. Like maybe there is some really alarming shit we need to wake up to. So I don't want to try to suppress that person, because that might be part of that natural, instinctual, organic way that we come together in groups, based on a common, we're against the mandates. We think this has gone too far. Okay? So there might, that doesn't mean we're going to have agreement on all this other shit. Holy mother. That is going to be more of a challenge than anything else. Let me tell you, that's what, because I sure know it's, that's what I've been dealing with for many years. I'm very inexperienced, person that way. And very naive too. I just want to be honest. I have always looked at people and given them the benefit of the doubt way too many times. Oh man, and have I learned from that? So I appreciate the lesson, okay? But I also appreciate that there's been a lot of work done on this topic. Thank God. And I'm studying it full out. And I think it will be a very helpful tool that might help prevent serious conflict, possible, differences, when we, whatever, over things like, say, alcohol. Like out at Nifty, I forgot to tell you guys, okay? But we don't drink out here. Now, I didn't tell anyone, I didn't want to, make anyone feel uncomfortable, whatever. Because a lot of people in my own life, lots of people that I know, myself included, I've stopped drinking, okay? And there's a lot of alcoholism, okay? And we need to support each other right now to get ourselves off of these vices. Now is the time to get off, And I want you, everyone who has an addiction, it will be what's used against you. So the sooner you face your addictions, like cigarettes are going to be a killer. Now, we can grow our own tobacco. It's not that those things have to be removed from our life forever. But we're going to have to maybe produce some of these things ourselves, grow them, like take 100% control back. That will take time. Okay? So food addictions, alcohol, prescription drugs, cigarettes, even gambling, money. You see, money, like even if we have anxiety around money, losing our job, let's look really closely. I have no idea, okay? But maybe some of us got that, like money, like we're giving it emotionally like more power, that it has the power to sustain us, save us, provide everything for us, so that we have an unhealthy dependency on it. So the fear is because, remember, we have the natural world. We have each other. Okay? All we got to do is make it through. We do not have to submit to this. It is dominant, I agree. But another system is totally able to be created. We can do it. That'll be better, healthier, simpler, everything. We can design it however we want. It could be maybe what we need is more diversity. It's not that this larger system needs to be dismantled, which seems to be, it's like all or nothing. Well, maybe that's part of the problem. And maybe what we need to have is more local, autonomous, resilient, decentralized systems that will always be maintained and function in case the larger system has something go wrong, like now. Why is it such a crisis? Because that larger system, it started trying to shut down and prevent relocalization because it now sees it as a competitor. Okay, so maybe all we got to do everywhere across the country is recongeal into networks of people saying, okay, we got each other's back. We're going to be okay. And we're going to build the resilience so this never, ever can happen again to the human race. Now, there might be a lot of changes that are going to have to happen in that governmental system. But right now, we need it to keep operating too. Okay? In the meantime, we learn, we change, we grow, we heal. And we got to be part of life. Part of life. And, yeah. And be willing to let go of old ways of seeing things, old ways of looking. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, hang on to the good and let go of the bad. That's all we got to do. Everything that's good in the world, tools, technology, stuff like that, if it's still useful, we can keep it running. Great, keep it. Stuff that clearly is not working, causing problems, toxicity, corruption, we got to figure out how to get rid of it. And the number one thing is to never, ever become dependent on it again. So I want to share that with you guys.